Yo guys, as you just saw, what we're doing with this build is absolutely crazy. And this is a continuation or extension of our video that we made yesterday. However, yesterday we were still figuring out the ins and outs of the new Terror mechanic, but now we've figured it out and we've perfected it. And this relies off of two pieces of equipment. You don't need this exact shield and this exact grenade, but you need these two anointed perks on your shield and grenade. On action skill and apply terror to yourself every 5 seconds for the next 18 seconds. And then the red card, while terrified, gain ammo regeneration. The more terror you have, the higher the bonus. So we're going to apply terror to ourselves, and then we get ammo regen. What we didn't understand yesterday is that the ammo regen is based off of your magazine size. The higher the magazine size, the more ammo regen you will have. So, for example, with our Shred of Fire, that has 120 or 100 magazine size, we're boosting it by 20%. Let's inflict the terror debuff to ourselves, and you'll see what I mean. So, unlimited ammo, right? But it's going down a little bit. We're going 106, 105, 104, 103, 102. But it would take us a crazy long time to get all the way down. But if we increase our magazine size even more, we are going to be pushing the absolute limits of this ammo regen to the point where we will never have to reload ever again. So watch this. We're at 159. Let's wait for our terror to stack up again. Now watch this. It'll stay at 159 for your entire lifetime. As long as we're phase slamming and keeping that buff up, you will never, ever even come close to needing to reload. Absolutely crazy. And you get this buff for 18 seconds. And our cooldown on our slam, this is non-glitched cooldowns, is less than that. So we can keep up this crazy ammo regen and damage 100% of the time. So, now with this build, how do we make the most out of that? How do we abuse this mechanic even further? And I'll show you guys that with this build. So our build, all you need is the Shred of Fire. All you need is the Shred of Fire. That is it. We are using a 300% weapon damage one. You don't need to be using a 300 weapon damage one. It works fine without one. You could be using a 100% on action skill end. You could use bonus mags or bonus damage in the magazine. Whatever you guys want. This is the only Shred of Fire I have, and so this is the only one I'm using. That's why I'm using Face Slam. But the 300% damage increase is bananas. It's going to be absolutely crazy. And built this build around that. So, for our first time ever, guys, we are using we're not using a phase zerker in a gun build. We are going to be using this agoraphobic flurrying breaker class mod, and I'll explain why. One is, if you can see those stats, we're getting plus 25% weapon damage, plus 31% assault rifle damage, and plus 50% Vlad-off weapon accuracy with a Vlad-off assault rifle. So this alone is unbelievably nice. It'll give us more damage than the phase zerker could. Another reason we're using this, though, is for the damage reduction. Now, when you're using this gun this fast and you're on Slaughter Shaft, you're going to be wanting to use the bipod mode. This is going to give us crazy accuracy, and also amazing stability as we walk around and shoot our gun. And because of that, we are a sitting duck. We're a sitting duck for every single rocket launcher, for every single explosive, bullet, gunshot, whatever. So this damage reduction is going to be really nice. The phase zerker you can use for this, but these points aren't really going to help us out. The Phaserker points. We don't need clarity. We certainly don't need Conflux, and we're not really caring about our dot damage, so we don't really need Anima. We're not igniting ourselves. I have a sellout here, but you don't need to use one. We're just using the Shred-a-Fire for this build. So let's put back on the Breaker. The Breaker is going to give us points into personal space, which is real nice. And the damage reduction is also really nice. Because we're going to be a walking target, the damage reduction is super nice. And this build is unkillable as well, as long as you're shooting. As long as you're hitting enemies with your gun, guys, you're going to be... You'll breeze through Slaughter Shaft. This is the easiest time I've ever had in Slaughter Shaft, ever. Absolutely insane. Now let's go over the build. So our build, we're going 5 out of 5 in Anima, Tempest, and Infusion. The dot that we are going to be doing is going to increase its damage. Tempest is going to increase our elemental damage, super important. And Infusion, we are using a Cryo Shred-a-Fire. Cryo Shred-a-Fire is very nice. Doesn't really matter particularly what element you're using. Cryo is nice, and if we have Cryo, we're going to infuse it with something else so that we can increase our damage even more. So in that tree, we've got that. We're not phase grasping anyone because we're using Phase Slam, but if we were phase grasping people, I would be using this. Deep Well, really important for our magazine size. We're going to be shooting a ton of bullets, so the ricochet chance is really nice. Sustainment is going to be our only healing, guys. But our healing sounds like this. Every bullet we're hitting an enemy with is going to be proccing healing. And so we shouldn't have any issues with that. Forceful Expression just to boost our elemental damage even more. And then next we're going into the green tree. We're getting personal space because if people want to run at us, they're going to get real close. We're not running away from anything. We're just going to be a sitting turret that absolutely melts everything. So if people want to get close to us, then they're in a lot of trouble. Then we got Root to Rise for more health. We're getting Arms Deal for damage reduction, splash damage reduction, Helping Hands for even more damage reduction, Mindfulness to give us some movement speed, and Shield Regen, 1 point into One with Nature. No points into Jab Cross, this is just my class mod, and then we're grabbing Guardian Angel. Note, we're not putting 1 point into the Mystical Assault tree because we're not using the Phase Zerker, therefore we do not need a rush stack. And yeah, this was the build. For this, I would recommend you should be looking out for assault rifle damage and magazine size. In terms of what the relic is, it doesn't really matter. I would base it off of what you're using, what your setup is. I personally would really like to use a Icebreaker Victory Rush. Give me the bonus damage versus Cryo. It's going to give me movement, speed, and damage, which is really nice. But without that magazine size, you will eventually, very slowly, get to a place where you need to reload. That's fine. But if you guys are truly gunning for the I want to run through Slaughter Shaft without ever tapping my X button or your reload button, look for something with magazine size, as you will literally never reload once. It's just stuck at 159. This is so silly, and makes Slaughter Shaft a piece of cake. We're gonna end with some more gameplay, unless we put gameplay in the beginning of the video. But hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one. Try this build out. Look for anointed Shred-a-Fires, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Podcast tomorrow with Dirchlands, by the way. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Sunday, on Twitch, squad streaming, Dirchlands. Let's do it, boys. Peace.